Imagine a night so cold that your breath freezes before it even leaves your lips. Snow stretches for miles in every direction. Somewhere out there, in the darkness, two glowing eyes are watching you. You would expect them to belong to a predator, a hunter, a creature that sees you as prey. But this time, they don't attack. This is the story of how a fierce, snarling wolf became man's most loyal companion. This is the story of how, in the middle of the harshest ice age our planet has ever seen, two completely different species looked at each other across a fire and decided to trust. This is the story of how the dog was born. 20,000 years ago, the Earth looked nothing like it does today. Massive glaciers, some over a mile thick, crushed entire continents beneath their weight. Temperatures plunged far below freezing. Forests turned to frozen tundra. Food was scarce, and every single calorie was a matter of life and death. In this brutal world, two predators competed for the same prey: mammoths, bison, reindeer, and wild horses. One of these hunters walked on two legs, clever, adaptable, armed with sharpened spears and the ability to plan ahead. The other hunted in packs, fast, powerful, guided by instinct, loyalty, and an incredible sense of smell that could detect prey from miles away. Early humans and ancient wolves. For thousands of years, these two species were rivals. They competed for the same herds. They fought over the same kills. In a world where starvation was always just one bad hunt away, neither could afford to share. So how did enemies become allies? How did the fiercest predator of the Ice Age end up curled up beside a human fire instead of hunting humans down? The answer might surprise you. Picture an ancient human camp. A small fire crackles in the night, the only source of warmth for miles. Around it, a family huddles together, exhausted from the day's hunt. Nearby, in the shadows, a pack of wolves watches. They are not interested in attacking. They are interested in something else entirely: the leftover scraps of bone and meat scattered near the fire. Scientists believe this is where it all began, not with humans taming wild wolf pups in a cave, not with some grand plan of domestication. It began with garbage. The boldest wolves, the ones slightly less afraid of humans, crept closer to the campsites at night to scavenge for food. Most wolves fled at the first sign of danger, but a few stayed just a little longer. And those wolves ate a little better than the rest of the pack. Generation after generation, something remarkable happened. The wolves that were calmer, friendlier, and less aggressive toward humans survived and reproduced more successfully than the wolves that were vicious and fearful. Nature itself was quietly selecting for tameness. This wasn't a partnership humans designed on purpose. It was evolution, written in the snow, one scavenged bone at a time. For a long time, this theory was just an educated guess, but then scientists uncovered something extraordinary buried deep in the frozen soil of Siberia. A skull. Ancient, strange, not quite a wolf, but not quite a dog either. Researchers named it the Altai dog, dated to over 30,000 years old. Its skull showed physical differences from wild wolves: a shorter snout, a wider jaw, teeth crowded closer together. These are the same kinds of changes we see in domesticated animals today. Even more incredible discoveries followed. In Belgium, a fossilized skull dated to over 31,000 years old showed similar transitional features. And at a site in Predmosty, in the modern-day Czech Republic, archaeologists found something that stopped researchers in their tracks: a dog skull with a mammoth bone carefully placed inside its mouth. Was this a burial? A ritual? A goodbye gift for a loyal companion who had passed away? We may never know for certain, but one thing is clear. Somewhere between 30,000 and 15,000 years ago, across the frozen landscapes of Europe and Asia, wolves and humans were forming a bond unlike anything seen before in the natural world. As centuries passed, the relationship deepened. These early proto-dogs weren't just tolerated near human camps anymore, they became useful. Their sharp senses could detect approaching predators long before a human ever could. Their speed and strength made them incredible hunting partners, capable of chasing down prey that would have easily outrun a human on foot. In return, humans offered something no wild wolf pack could guarantee: consistent food, warmth by the fire, and protection in numbers. It was a trade that benefited both species enormously. Humans with dogs could hunt more efficiently, defend their camps more effectively, and travel further into dangerous, unfamiliar territory. Groups of ancient humans who formed bonds with these early dogs may have had a serious survival advantage over those who didn't. Slowly, over thousands of years, the wolf's fierce, independent nature began to soften. Their bodies changed too. Ears that once stood straight up began to relax and even flop over in some populations. Tails that once held stiff and alert began to curl and wag. Their brains remarkably grew smaller than their wild ancestors, a common trait in domesticated animals whose need for constant, high-alert survival instincts gradually diminished. They were becoming something entirely new. Not quite wolf, not yet the dog we know today. Something in between. A bridge between the wild and the tame. Here's what makes this story so remarkable. This wasn't just the domestication of an animal. This was the beginning of the very first friendship between humans and another species. A friendship built not on necessity alone, but on something closer to companionship. Unlike the domestication of horses or cattle, which happened primarily for labor and food, the earliest bond between humans and dogs seems to have been different. Some of the earliest known dog burials show humans laying their dogs to rest with the same care given to human family members. In Germany, at a site called Bonn Oberkassel, archaeologists discovered a dog buried alongside two humans dated to over 14,000 years ago. Studies of the dog's remains revealed it had suffered from a serious illness in its final months of life. And yet, it survived far longer than it should have. That means someone took care of it. Someone nursed it back to health. Someone valued its life enough to keep it alive, long before it could offer any practical use in hunting or protection. That is not domestication out of pure necessity. That is love. By the time the Ice Age finally released its icy grip on the planet, dogs had already secured their place at humanity's side. As humans spread across every continent, their dogs went with them, into the forests of Europe, across the plains of Asia, over the land bridge into the Americas. Every dog alive today, from the tiniest Chihuahua to the largest Mastiff, carries a piece of that ancient story in its DNA. A story that began not in a laboratory or a farm, but around a campfire in the middle of the harshest winter our species has ever survived. Two predators, once rivals for the same prey, became something greater than either could be alone. So the next time your dog curls up beside you, rests its head on your lap, or looks at you with those familiar, trusting eyes, remember what you're really looking at. You are looking at the living legacy of an alliance forged in ice, snow, and firelight. A bond that has survived for over 30,000 years, and shows no signs of ever fading. If you enjoyed uncovering this incredible piece of our shared history, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more stories from humanity's ancient past. And let me know in the comments, does your dog ever look at you like it somehow remembers? Thanks for watching.